Next up, we have Victoria Gold. They're operating the Eagle Gold Mine, a 160,000 ounce producer in the Yukon, not far from Mayo. And we have John McConnell, President and CEO, joining us and running us through the operation. John, it's good to see you again.
Good afternoon. Are we on here? Good afternoon, everyone. As Kai said, we are an operating mine, so you're probably wondering why I'm presenting at a discovery event. So a little bit of background. That beautiful lady that presented on Banyan Gold this morning is my wife, Tara. And I was telling Willem at PDAC that Tara was coming over for his conference. He had invited her, and that I was going to be the plus one. And he said, well, if you're coming, you're going to do a presentation. But I'd like you to alter it, maybe not make it the typical IR presentation. Try and give the audience some sense of what it takes to go from discovery to production. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And I'm going to first a little bit, who's John McConnell? I found that photo in the center. I graduated from high school in 1973, and I did what most kids did in a mining town. I went to work underground in the mine. That picture was taken, I think, in 1977 when we won a safety award. And I was a pretty good miner, but I decided to go back to school, and I graduated in mining technology from British Columbia Institute of Technology. Then I went on to the Colorado School of Mines and got a mining engineering degree. I've spent most of my career in Canada's north. I joined a company called Nanocivic Mines in late 1979 as an engineer in training. It was on the north tip of Baffin Island. Lead zinc mine. It was just starting up, so I got the experience of the startup of a mine, and I've got lots of stories about that. Then I moved on. When the diamonds got hot in Canada, I moved to a company called Windspear Diamonds. Got the opportunity after a De Beers takeover of Windspear to take a diamond mine through permitting, construction, and into production. And then I ran another little junior called Western Celtic. We had a zinc property in northwestern BC. Took that through pre-feasibility study, and we sold the company to another company called Sherwood Copper, now Capstone. And then I went to work for Victoria Gold and became the CEO in 2010. And I'm going to take you through the timeline of the Eagle Gold Mine. There's lots of things I agree with Neil on, and you're going to hear some of those repeated here today. I put my investor checklist there, and then there's McConnell rules. Neil, being a Brit, is a little nicer than I forget how he referred to bad actors. I call them assholes. And I certainly, I believe that mines are built. They are not discovered. The Eagle Gold Mine was discovered 50 years ago, and only went into production a couple of years ago. So, Terrence, I ran into him in Frankfurt 10 days ago, and he reminded me that Victoria had the Cove McCoy property in Nevada, and that Willem had invested in Victoria at that time. We eventually sold that property to a company called I-80, and they're still doing exploration on it some probably 26 years later, and they're no closer to making that next step to a mine than we were 25 years ago. So mines are definitely built, not discovered. Now, that doesn't mean you can't make money at the discovery phase, and that's where I call it the junior miner life cycle. I think Kai referred to it as the Lassonde curve. The late Ned Goodman told me once that it was actually the Goodman curve. And I had lunch with another infamous mine financier in Vancouver 2 weeks ago, Peter Brown, and he said it's actually the Brown curve. So anyway, that's why I don't put any credit to anyone on it. But, you know, we're focused on the discovery phase here today. And Neil's right, you know, there's nothing on the timeline. And I would say, if anything, the time between exploration and mining has gone from being 3 years, particularly in North America, to probably being 10 or 15 years now. So it's a tough road. Just a little bit on Victoria, and I am going to play a video. I'm just not sure which slide it comes on, so at some point the video is going to pop up. So we're trying to build an integrated mining company at Victoria, and the reason we can do that is because of Eagle. It's a long life, large producer, and we've got a development stage asset called Brewery Creek, and then we've got great exploration assets, and hopefully we make a new discovery on Raven, Lynx, or Gold Dome. We're forecasting year-over-year production increases. We're highly levered to the price of gold, and I checked the gold price just before I came up here, and I see gold is up again this morning, so that's a good sign for us. We're delivering on ESG, and all of our assets have road access, and I think that goes a long way to making them permittable. There's where the mine's located, just north of Mayo in the Yukon territory. This clearly is becoming a district. Over 23 million ounces discovered in the area now. Here's Eagle, again, long life asset, open pit mining, heap leach processing, and great infrastructure. And I'm hoping that the video comes on now. I think the video, I've been told, is as close as you're going to get to making a mine visit, and hopefully it educates you. If anyone in the room only speaks English, you're going to be disappointed because we had it translated to Dutch for this presentation.
De Eagle Gold Mine van Victoria Gold, gelegen in centraal Yukon, Canada, produceert goud-doreestaven vanuit een conventionele open put heap leach mine. Het proces omvat het opblazen in de open put, het laden en vervoeren van het erts voor 3-trapsvergruizing, het overbrengen van het vergruisde erts over land naar de invallei heap leach faciliteit. Heap leaching, het terugwinnen van het goud in de goudwininstallatie, waar het goud vervolgens wordt verwarmd en in doreestaven wordt gegoten, die aan een raffinaderij worden verkocht en worden verscheept. De huidige levensduur van de mijn is 11 jaar, maar met het ertslichaam dat zich in de diepte uitstrekt en regionaal onderzoek is het management ervan overtuigd dat de mijn meer dan 20 jaar in bedrijf zal zijn en meer dan 6 miljoen ounces goud zal produceren. De Eagle Open Put bevindt zich op een heuvel en wanneer deze is voltooid zal deze meer dan 2000 meter lang, 1000 meter breed en 800 meter diep zijn. In de open put wordt rots opgeblazen en vervolgens geladen in vrachtwagens. Goudhoudend erts wordt vervoerd naar de primaire crusher. Niet goudhoudend materiaal wordt vervoerd naar een opslaggebied voor afvalgesteenten. De vloot van de Eagle Gold Mine omvat 2 CAT 6040 graafmachines en 11 CAT 785D vrachtwagens. Elke graafmachine-emmer kan 140 ton materiaal bevatten. En elke vrachtwagen kan meer dan 3 scheppen of 150 ton bevatten. De vrachtwagens rijden met ongeveer 20 km per uur van de put naar de primaire crusher. En lossen in de stortzak van de crusher. De primaire crusher is een giraffencrusher, die de ertsrotsen vermaalt tot ongeveer 12 centimeter groot. Ongeveer de grootte van een grapefruit. Vanuit de primaire crusher wordt het vergruisde erts overgebracht naar de secundaire en tertiaire crushers. De secundaire en tertiaire crushers vergruizen het erts verder tot een streefgrootte van 10 mm. Ongeveer de grootte van een grapefruit pit. Het vergruisde erts reist over een overdekte transportband over land. Ongeveer 1,5 kilometer naar de heap leach faciliteit. De heap leach faciliteit bevindt zich in een vallei met beschermende dubbele voering. Gebroken, goudhoudend erts wordt opgestapeld op de beklede heap leach faciliteit. Via een reeks mobiele transportbanden die het erts in lagen van 12 meter stapelen. 1 miljoen ton erts zal iedere maand worden verwerkt. Een netwerk van druppelende emitterbuizen is geïnstalleerd op iedere laag. De buizen leveren een zwakke cyanideoplossing die door het erts sijpelt en het goud oplost. Gedurende de vriesmaanden worden de buizen 1 meter onder het oppervlak begraven. De met goud beladen of zwangere oplossing wordt vervolgens gepompt vanaf de heapfaciliteit naar de goudwininstallatie. In de goudwininstallatie wordt het goud uit de oplossing geëxtraheerd en de resulterende barre oplossing wordt gerecycled en gebruikt op de heap leach. Het goud wordt verhit tot meer dan 1000 graden Celsius in de smeltkroes en gegoten in goud-doré-staven met een gewicht van ongeveer 1000 ounces. De doré-staven geproduceerd bij de Eagle Gold Mine bevatten goud en wat zilver. De doré-staven worden naar de Canadian Mint verzonden voor de laatste verfijning tot 99,99% goud.
How was the translation? Okay, good. No, not. We didn't ask Elon Musk to translate for us. So I just want to talk about the timeline. As I said, the Eagle deposit was discovered in the late 70s, so, over 50 years ago. We acquired it in 2009, and you can see the timeline to take it through permitting. We had the permits in place in 2015. Then it was time to raise the capital, which, as someone earlier said, these things tend to line up in terms of raising money. It was a bad time in 2017, but we were able to put the financing together in 2018. It was about a year and a half for construction. We poured first gold in 2019. 2020 was a very difficult time for us, and building mines is not for the faint of heart, but building them during a pandemic and putting them into production is definitely not for the faint of heart. I keep promising myself I will not use COVID as an excuse, but it was very challenging with the rules that governments put in place for moving people about and that. And, post-COVID is still a bit challenging with people. A lot of people left the workforce and to never come back again because governments paid them to stay home. So our biggest challenge today is still people. In 2022, we had a turnover rate of 37%. 2023, it was down to 20%, but that's still difficult to run a mining operation with that kind of turnover. But it is trending in the right direction. Brewery Creek, this is a development asset we acquired last fall. It's a couple hundred kilometers away, but it's a brownfield site that we think we can permit in 3 to 5 years. It's been drilled off extensively, so it's actually a reserve, not a resource. And we think we have there a nice little producer that will operate for plus 10 years and produce 50 to 60,000 ounces per year. Raven is a discovery by our team. It's about 15 kilometers due east of Eagle. The maiden resource was over 1 million ounces, but it's at a grade of 1.7 grams versus the grade at Eagle of 0.75, so almost double the grade. We see a mine there, but we've got a lot more work to do on the exploration front. We probably need 3 more years of exploration before we even consider economic studies there. We have 3 exploration assets nearby, Lynx, Gold Dome, and Clear Creek. I think Willem's an investor in Sitka, who are our neighbors at Clear Creek. And I guess the points I would like to point out on these 3 exploration targets are the 2 starting bullets, multi-gram drill intercepts, and road accessible. I think that's very important, particularly in the Yukon. First Nations do not want to see new roads built into undeveloped areas. So if you've got a road, you can do, relatively inexpensive exploration and development. If you don't have a road, it's going to be very challenging to get one in the future. Shareholders. Our largest shareholder is actually an individual, GMT Capital. It's a family office out of Atlanta. The gentleman is a guy named Thomas Cloggis. He has his own fund. It's worth about $3.5 billion. He started with nothing 40 years ago, made all his money in the oil and gas sector in the US, and he has decided that it's the right time for gold, so he has started looking for investments in gold, and Victoria was his first investment. ESG, last but not least, very important to us. We have one of the best health and safety records in the mining business. We do a lot of work with the local First Nation. We've had 0 environmental upsets. We're very proud of our workforce. Over 30% of our employees are from the Yukon. And carbon intensity, because we use access hydroelectric power for the mine operation, we have a very low carbon footprint in comparison to many mines in Canada. People always think that because you're the CEO of a gold mining company, you must have some insights into what the price of gold is going to be. And, my cocky answer is if I knew what the price of gold was going to be, I wouldn't be up here today. I'd be on a beach somewhere, or I'd be in Switzerland with Willem skiing for half the year. Anyway, I list the reasons gold is up, but I actually think that the best reason is at the bottom there. I own gold because I'm afraid it will go to $5,000. And I think you see that in real estate all the time. A few years ago, my daughter told me she wanted to buy a house because the prices were going up. And I think that's why people are buying gold today and why we've seen a huge increase in the last few months. So just to recap, we're building an integrated mining company, forecasting year-over-year production growth, highly levered to the price of gold, delivering on ESG, and all of our assets have road access and are permittable. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Well done, John. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions for John McConnell? Got one.
Is it about time that you keep part of your production in gold on your balance sheet instead of dollars?
Let me repeat that real quick, John. Does it make sense as a gold producer to retain some of the gold on your balance sheet instead of selling it into the market?
I wish we had that option, but we have over $100 million in debt still. So our focus is paying down debt, and then we can, once the debt's down, we can start to think about holding gold in the treasury.
Would it be interesting for a gold producer?
Yeah.
Would you tighten the market that way? Would you impact the market supply and drive gold to $5,000? So. No. Do we have any other questions for John? We have one back there.
Why do you lease all the CAT equipment?
Why do you lease all your CAT equipment, meaning the yellow machinery?
They made us the best offer in equipment. We went out and looked at all of the manufacturers of equipment, and because they were willing to lease it and put up very good terms in a financing, we went with Caterpillar. So
Any other?
purely an economic decision.
See, we have another question.
Can you shed some light on the permitting process? And it's twofold. One is how long do you have a permit on a specific location? And is the process of obtaining permits now different from, let's say, 10 years ago because of environmental issues or worries from governments?
Yeah.
Hold on. Sorry. Let me repeat that real quick just for the audience at home. But permitting process, like how has it changed over the last 10 years, and how long is a permit valid these days?
So, I think it continues to evolve. I wouldn't say change. And emphasis goes on different areas as, like right now where everybody's concerned about climate change. So there's more emphasis on, using electric haul trucks and that sort of thing. First Nations in Canada are becoming more vocal about the permitting process, so they're getting far more involved and want to have their say. So I wouldn't say the process has changed, particularly in the Yukon, but it has evolved, and not for the better in terms of timelines.
Fantastic. Awesome. John, thank you so much.
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you joining us here on stage. And